We're looking at 12 winning projects for the graduate M.Arch 1 and M.Arch 2 from our 2019 thesis. Students are asked to give their own contribution to the discipline.
During thesis weekend, the whole school is a gallery space. We have the selected thesis presented in the smaller setting. It's a group of students that present a bit of the kind of diversity of the type of projects that we generally have.
And so this year we awarded 5 prizes from the endowment of Frank Gehry and Berta. Every year the best students from graduate, from both M.Arch 1 and M.Arch 2, get selected to be awarded the prize. People recognize the name of Frank Gehry and recognize the role of SCI-Arc. It's definitely an encouragement to their career and to whatever they will do professionally afterwards.
There was an aim at not only how far they can take their models or their drawings, but also how they can challenge the way that they talk about the projects. You see some elements where students are really trying to push the boundaries, not only on terms of how the project is designed, but also how the project is presented. In Natou's example, she literally walked around the model as she was presenting.
I'm Aminatou Fall. I was in the M.Arch 1 program and my thesis advisor was Mira Henry. My project is called Shaping Face, sort of looking at cosmetics in the architectural discourse. We have this ideal version of what we categorize to be beautiful, and I think cosmetics are a tool that allow people to sort of define beauty in their own way. I did models of 3 houses I was looking at. The neighborhoods I was looking at were in South Los Angeles, redesigning the houses to be more exaggerated versions of themselves.
Hi, my name is Sabrina. I'm in M.Arch 1 and my thesis advisor was Florencia Pita. Me and my partner, Yuan Wang, we've worked on multiple projects together in different studios and we felt that we worked really well together. At the beginning, we were very interested in ideas of preservation and architectural preservation and what that really means today. So the Thomas Jefferson's UVA campus is a very monumental site. We were really trying to question what we preserve and what is considered monumental, and we wanted to bring that out through these pillowy, balloony objects that really contrasted the neoclassical architecture.
You see a collection of issues being tackled and some of underlying themes that connect them all. So you can go from a political project on a campus in Virginia up to a project about playfulness.
My name is Siyao, and this is my thesis project, the Playful Objects. I'm from M.Arch 2 program. My thesis advisor is Hernan Diaz Alonso. My thesis explores what architecture and playfulness can do together by transforming familiar ready-mades into something imprecise and formless and recomposing them in a very precise way. We can create architecture with new aesthetics. There has been a long discussion of how we collage all kinds of things together to make a big composition, but there's no many discussion about the transition of different pieces. I was trying to take a step further, escape from the collaging a little bit, and studied how these pieces could be kind of connect together in a very precise way. In my thesis, I developed 3 methods to connect those pieces, all getting inspiration from playful objects like toys and cartoon figures.
The thesis student might open new ground or might look at known paradigms within architecture. In this case, this is a drawing that is trying to find its way. There's no single vanishing point, there's not an axonometric, it's not a perspective, it's not a 2D drawing because some stuff are coming out. At the same time, it's trying to find its own path.
It's clear that colors has been a big protagonist of the work in the school. I think nowadays the color becomes and is completely ingrained in our visual culture, and students brought it in fully and completely. And there is a new democratizing force that color has been brought to our attention.
My name is Alayna Davidson. I was in the M.Arch 2 program, and my thesis advisor was Hernandez Alonso. My thesis project really wanted to focus on how we can kind of make architecture more inclusive, but also how to make architecture more temporary to keep up with modern culture. There is kind of this dichotomy between the formal and the informal.
The way that students presented some of these projects was quite unique. How you have a high and a low way of talking about architecture. How can you not only do it as a performance during the review? She had a way in which she went academic and street at the same time.
With the slang terms, I kind of wanted to represent it in a certain specific way when I was presenting my thesis. I was presenting the formal style, which is kind of what we're used to doing in academia, but then I was interrupted by a text message from a friend who wanted to know about my thesis project. So I was telling them in a almost slang version, texting while I was presenting the formal presentation verbally to the jury. Presenting both at the same time was kind of super interesting and almost called to question how formal architecture could be, but also how it could embrace the informal and kind of learn from it. I have the traditional kind of huge image that I almost wanted to see as this old stylistic approach, but in a modern way. And it almost looks like a relief painting, but the closer you get, you realize it's using the modern CNC machine and a flatbed print system. But I also had an AR experience to kind of bring temporality within architecture, so it's not as permanent.
Technology is always at the forefront of students' minds. So we have a few projects that try to integrate augmented reality with architecture, or at least make a commentary of what augmented reality might mean today and what the social media did in terms of culture in architecture.
My name is Benjamin Weisgall. I was enrolled in and graduated from the M.Arch 1 program. My thesis advisor was Anna Niemark. My thesis revolves around the architectural device of the niche. The niche, for me, was fundamentally an aspect of interior architecture and really occurred at the scale of the detail. A second thread of the project revolves around the architecture's relationship with the law. My thesis ultimately became a design for a courthouse that was developed using the techniques of niche construction. The project ultimately came together as a proposal for an Article I immigration court. The different parts of the model I understand as frames that have images. Together they make a courtroom, and apart they represent the different niches in a trial.
Each project presents its materiality that might seem similar, but completely different outputs. By Aminatou, you can see that the mirror is used as a device for display.
I had sort of come up with a category of materials I was looking at. There was powdery, a glossy material. The models are made out of silicone and 3D print. I decided to work with silicone just because it kind of behaves in this fugitive way.
It's clear that material finish is part of the craft of the students' work. Being digital is not enough for our students, and they have placed a lot of emphasis in bringing some effects that usually were done through renderings on the computer into the physical models, and that transition is actually becoming more and more successful. Every material is a possible material as a medium for the effect that drawing might have on the wall, or for the models to have on a pedestal.
So our models mostly 3D printed and styrene, as well as MDF. We have actual plaster casts that we did.
So the surface finishes of the model are my different interpretations of a photographic surface. There are stains that react with the wood to create a different color tone. In contrast to the variety of material finishes, the actual material is quite limited. It's all plywood. The only variety is really in the thickness or the heaviness of the wood.
This is really something that we wouldn't have been able to do in any studio class, taking these concepts and bringing them into something that me and my partner were interested in.
I've been in architecture school for 6 years. Of course, I've done projects that speak to who I am, but it's kind of my first way of kind of putting myself out there.
I would guess that every year, maybe we find a new challenge, even like small windows into new avenues of design and research.
I think SCI-Arc thesis for me is really a good time to explore what my interest is. Start from a very tiny little thing like toys and dive into it and finally develop it into a really big thing.